Hello everyone, hope all are doing well. I am Preeti, your host, and I'm excited to welcome you to this session on MongoDB basic and CRUD operations. Now, I am delighted to introduce our speaker, Mr. Sagar. He is a dedicated, versatile, and efficient full stack developer and trainer with strong expertise across the presentation layer, application layer, and database. He brings deep technical skill along with the ability to manage multiple tasks efficiently. Sagar has hands-on experience in developing, maintaining, and modifying JavaScript-based application suites and is passionate about making complex topic easy to understand. What sets him apart is clarity, structure, and focus on practical implementation. Whether you are just getting started with database or looking to strengthen your MongoDB skill, you are in an insightful session. Let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Sagar. Over to you.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Sagar, guys. So I have around like 8 years of experience as a software developer, and in the same way, I have around 7+ years of experience as a software trainer. So I have been training a lot of students from last or past 7 years on Mern stack, Mean stack, on Java technology. Even I have trained people on the cloud as well. So right now, in today's session, we are going to understand about the MongoDB database. So we are going to see all the things about MongoDB. So this is a very short introduction about me, guys. So shall we start the session? Yeah, can I?
Yes.
So let me share the screen, guys. Yeah. So in today's session, let's understand what we are going to learn. So the title for this session is MongoDB and CRUD operations, or we can say MongoDB with CRUD operations or MongoDB on CRUD operations. You can give any title that you want. Now let's understand what we are going to cover in today's session. In today's session, let's try to understand exactly what is database. First, we will discuss what is database. Once we understand what is database, we will try to discuss what are the different types of databases we have in the market. Types of databases. So we have structured database, we have non-structured database. Like this, what are the types of database we will discuss. Then we will try to focus on NoSQL databases. What are the different NoSQL databases we have? Once we discuss about NoSQL databases, this is where we are going to introduce MongoDB. Then we will discuss a little bit about MongoDB. What is MongoDB? How MongoDB works? Why people MongoDB? Why MongoDB right now it's very popular database. Then we will deep dive into the practical part. So in this practical part, we are going to see how to install your MongoDB server. What is MongoDB server? What is MongoDB client? How to install it? How we can connect our client with server, and how we can perform CRUD operations. CRUD operations are nothing but we are going to see today how to create MongoDB database. We will see how to create collections, how to insert the data in that MongoDB, how to access the data from the MongoDB, how to update our data in the MongoDB database, or how to remove the data from the MongoDB database. This is where your CRUD operation comes into picture. Okay, it's a CRUD operation. CRUD operations are nothing but C stands for create. Create is nothing but inserting the data in the MongoDB. So we will see how to create MongoDB database and how to insert the data in that. Now, once you have added the data in your MongoDB database, how to access that data? We are going to see how to access the data. In the same way, now we have added the data in the MongoDB. We are able to access the data from the DB. Now we will see how to update our data in the database. How to update the data. In the same way, we need to see how to remove data from the database. That is your delete operation. This is where we are going to say CRUD operation. Create stands for insertion, read stands for accessing, U stands for update, D stands for delete. Okay. I hope my screen is visible and my voice is audible for everyone.
Yeah, it is visible and everything is clear. There are like some people who are saying that screen is not visible, so I would suggest them to rejoin or check the internet connection.
Okay, got it. Yeah, guys. So let's start our first topic. What is database now? So before I explain what is database, if someone knows what is database, they can add their answers on the chat. Anyone knows, guys, what is database? So you might have heard this term so many times, right? Database, where we store the data like that. So exactly what is database? Let's try to understand. Basically, a database is a software application. Database is a software application using which we can store and manage the data in our memory. What is database? Database is a software where we can store and manage the data. Manage the data. Okay, so I will be writing like this. Some content, guys, not much, little bit I will write so that you guys will be connected with my class. So what is database? Database is a software. Basically, it is a software where we can store and manage the data. Now, what is the meaning of managing? Managing is nothing but we can access the data, we can update the existing data, we can remove the existing data, or we can insert the data. All these operations comes under managing. So using database, we can store the data and we can manage the data. Manage the data is nothing but you can update your data, you can access your data, you can remove your data. Or we can say we can insert the data. This is what database is all about. Now in the market, there are so many databases. In our market, there are so many databases. Now all the databases are divided into some categories. Your databases are divided into some categories. Now there are minimum 10 to 15 categories of databases. We don't have one or two. We have minimum 10 to 15 categories of databases. But in that, two categories are very popular in the market. And those categories of databases are, the first category is your structured database. And second is non-structured database. We call it as a non-structured database. Or some people will call it as a NoSQL database. NoSQL database. These are the two categories, or we can say two types of databases which are very popular in the market. The examples of this structured databases are your Oracle, we have MySQL, we have SQL Server, etc. etc. Like this, there are so many databases which comes under structured database. But the popular databases are your Oracle, MySQL, and SQL Server. These are some of the popular databases which comes under structured database. In the same way, under non-structured or NoSQL database, we have the databases like MongoDB. So MongoDB comes under your non-structured or NoSQL database. We have Cassandra, we have CouchDB, we have PouchDB, we have Redis, etc. etc. Like this, there are so many databases which comes under non-structured or NoSQL database. Now, what is the core difference between structured and non-structured databases? Let's try to understand. In structured database, we can store the data in table and column format. In table, row, and column format. In structured databases, we store the data in table, row, and column format. Whereas in non-structured or NoSQL databases, we store the data in a object format. We store the data in the object format. Or we can store the data in the key value pair format. Key value pair format. So in non-structured or NoSQL databases, you can store any type of data. You can store structured data. You can store non-structured data. You can store semi-structured data also. Any data which you are storing in the form of table, those are called structured data. Data which you are storing in the form of objects, those are called semi-structured data. Data like your audios, videos, those are called non-structured data. So in NoSQL databases, we can store all the type of data. But in structured databases, we can store only structured type of data. This is the core difference between your structured database and non-structured database. Now in this workshop, I won't emphasize more on the theoretical part. We will try to more focus on the practical part. We will try to more focus on practical things. So for our session, I have created the PDF, guys. Let me show you the PDF. And this PDF I will be sharing with you guys, so you can go through. So here I have explained exactly what is MongoDB, what is NoSQL, like all the things about the workshop that we are going to conduct in today's session. So all the notes I have added here, so that you guys can go through these notes after the class. So right now you completely focus on the class. Okay. So this PDF I will be sharing with you. So almost 16 pages PDF it is. Now let's come back to our paint file. Yes. Now we know what is database. We know types of databases. Now in this workshop, we are going to understand MongoDB database. So what is this MongoDB? What is this MongoDB? So basically, MongoDB is a database. That is the first point. It is a database. It is a database. And it is a open source database. It is open source database. What do you mean by open source? Open source means if you want to use MongoDB database, you need not to buy any kind of license. No need to buy any kind of license or no need to buy any kind of subscription to use this database. Freely you can use this database. That is the meaning of open source. And it is a NoSQL database. It is a NoSQL database. Now, what is the meaning of NoSQL database? NoSQL database means not only SQL. Not only SQL. It means to work with this MongoDB database, no need to have SQL knowledge. So to work with this MongoDB database, we are not going to use any SQL language. Then which language we are going to use? Here we are going to use a language called JavaScript. If you want to do any kind of operation on this MongoDB database, maybe like creating database, maybe inserting data, maybe accessing data, maybe deleting data. If you want to do any kind of actions or operations on your database, for that, we are going to use JavaScript as a language. That's why we call MongoDB as a NoSQL database. And one more point about this MongoDB is it is a document-oriented database. We call it as a document-oriented database. Now, what is the meaning of document-oriented? The meaning of document-oriented is if you create MongoDB database. Let's assume that like this you are creating MongoDB database. Now, in this MongoDB database, whatever data you are going to insert, that data will be in the document format. Here, document is nothing but object. Document is referred to object. So in JavaScript, technically we call it as an object, but same object in MongoDB we call as a document. So like this, we will have this structure. We will have curly brace, open curly brace, close curly brace, and inside this, we are going to store our data. For example, name as a Sagar. Like this, we are going to create so many objects. Like this, so many objects we are going to store in our MongoDB database. And these objects technically in MongoDB is called document. That's why we call it as a document-oriented database. So what is MongoDB? In simple terms, it is a database which is open source, means it is a free to use. And it is a NoSQL database. NoSQL database means no need to learn SQL language or no need to use SQL language. Then which language we are going to use? JavaScript language. And in this database, whatever data we are going to store, that will be in the object format, JavaScript object format. And that object we are going to call as a document. Clear, guys? What is MongoDB database? Have you guys understood a little bit about MongoDB database? Let me know on the chat whether you have understood or not. Yes, no. Yeah, so try to reply, guys, so that you will be also active and even I get whether you are understanding or not. Great. Now let's come back here. Now we have understood that what is MongoDB. Now we are pretty clear that MongoDB is a database now. Now how to work with this database? How to work with this database? Now to work with this database, first we have to install. One server. We have to install one server. And that server is called MongoDB server. MongoDB server. So here I am adding the title, how to work with MongoDB database. How to work with MongoDB database. So to work with this MongoDB database, first we have to install MongoDB server. Now what is MongoDB server? MongoDB server basically is an application. This is one software application. Using this application, using this application, we can access our system memory. We can access our system disk. And inside this system memory or disk, we can store the data. Not only store, you can access the data, you can update the data, you can delete the data. So what is MongoDB server? MongoDB server is one software application which will allow us or which will help us to access memory and the disk of our system. So that inside that memory, we can store, update, access and delete the data. So to create MongoDB database, first we have to install this server called MongoDB server. So like this, let's assume that this is our MongoDB server. This server we have to install. Now how to install this MongoDB server? Now to install this MongoDB server, first you need to go to your browser, open the tab. In this address bar, you have to type mongodb.com. You have to just type mongodb.com. So when you type mongodb.com, you will land on their official page. Now here you have one link called products. Click on this products. And then you have to click on community edition. Now if you click on this community edition, you will land on another page. Now scroll down. Here you will find download community button. Click on that. If you click on that, again you will land on another page. Now scroll down. Now based on your operating system, here this platform will be selected. So right now in my system, I am using Windows. So by default, Windows platform is selected. If you want to select other platform, you can select this drop down button and you can select whatever platform you want. Then here we have package. We have two types of package, MSI package and zip package. So here by default MSI package is selected. Let it be MSI package only. And click on download. When you click on this download, one setup file will be downloaded. Your MongoDB server setup file will be downloaded. Once that file is downloaded, we have to open that file. So let it download. Okay, so meanwhile it downloads, let me explain some other thing. So what we are doing now, we are installing MongoDB server. Where we are installing this MongoDB server? We are installing inside our system. We are installing in our system. Now inside your system, you have your memory. Like in everybody's system, you might have some memory, right? 1 TB memory or 550 GB memory, something memory you will have. Let's assume that this is my memory of my system. Now what I can do, using this MongoDB server, I can access this memory. Inside this memory, I can create database. Inside my memory, I can create database. And inside this database, I can store my data. So how to create database inside your memory of system? For that, we are going to take the help of MongoDB server. I will show you practically how it happens. And once database is created, in that database, we will store the data. So to create this database in our memory, to store the data in our memory, we require this MongoDB server. For that, we are installing this MongoDB server. Now it is downloaded. Let me go to my downloads. So once it is downloaded, just open that file. Let me go to my downloads and check. Yes, it is downloaded. Now just open this file. How to open this file? Just double click on it. When you double click on it, one wizard will come now. So it is preparing for the installation. So just wait for a couple of seconds. You will get one wizard here. Now click on the next option. Once you click on the next option, next wizard will come. Select this checkbox. Again, click on the next button. Now select this complete. Again, click on next button. Now here you will get one wizard called install MongoDB Compass. So what you have to do here, by default, this checkbox is selected. Just unselect this checkbox. Even if you install MongoDB Compass, no problem, but it will take a lot of time to install this MongoDB Compass. That's why we don't want this tool. So unselect it. Then click on next and then click on install. Click on install. That's it. So MongoDB server will be installed in your system like a service. Once it is installed, close it. You will get this finish and click on that finish wizard. So MongoDB server will be installed in your system. Now how to verify if MongoDB server is installed or not? For that, go to your C drive. In your C drive, go to program files. And in this program files, check whether MongoDB folder is created or not. So like this, MongoDB folder should be created. If this MongoDB folder is created, open that folder, open that server. Now here you will find some versions. You can open any version, latest version. Open this bin and here you check whether you have this MongoD command or not. Just check MongoDB command is there or not. If it is present, it means MongoDB is successfully installed in your system. We did not install MongoDB database. We have installed MongoDB server. Remember this part. We have installed MongoDB server. Now, once MongoDB server is installed, next we have to install MongoDB client. Next, we have to install one more software called MongoDB client. And how to install MongoDB client? It is very simple installation. Again, go back to your browser and here search for MongoDB client. If you search for MongoDB client, or here instead of MongoDB client, better to search directly MongoDB shell. So MongoDB shell is nothing but your MongoDB client only. So if you search for MongoDB shell, here you will get this download option. Click on this download link. You will land on the download page of that MongoDB shell. Scroll down. Here by default zip is selected. Select MSI and click on download. So you have to install here MongoDB client. MongoDB client is nothing but we have to install MongoDB shell. So basically this MongoDB shell is called MongoDB client only. So we have to install this MongoDB shell. So once it is downloaded, okay, here you will find like this something called MongoSH. This is your MongoDB shell. Just double click on it, nothing but open that file. Then click on next option. Click on next option. Click on install option. Very simple installation. Just only two next options you will get. Next, install. Now this MongoDB shell will install in your system. Now why we require this MongoDB shell means this MongoDB shell will provide us interface. It will provide us interface. And using that interface, we can add our JavaScript commands. We can write our JavaScript code. We can write our JavaScript code, or you can call it as a commands. And using this JavaScript code and JavaScript commands, we can perform operations on our database. We can perform operations on our database. Now see here. Right now we have installed our MongoDB shell. This is your MongoDB shell. MongoDB shell we have installed, and we have installed MongoDB server. MongoDB server. Now this MongoDB server have the access of your memory. Let's assume that this is your memory, your system memory. Now this MongoDB shell will provide us some interface. It will provide us one interface. In this interface, we can add some commands. We can write some commands. And using these commands, we can tell to this MongoDB server what we want to do inside this memory. Whether you want to store new data, whether you want to access the data, update the data, or delete the data. So to execute our commands on this MongoDB shell, first we have to connect. This MongoDB shell with MongoDB server. If you connect this MongoDB shell with MongoDB server, then only you can add these commands. And using these commands, you can do so many things. What are those things? We will learn. So let's see first how to connect our MongoDB shell with this MongoDB server. So after installation, connect MongoDB shell with MongoDB server. So how to connect our MongoDB shell with MongoDB server? For that, first you have to open your terminal. Open the terminal. Terminal nothing but your command prompt. Open your command prompt. So I will open my command prompt. Once this command prompt is opened, now here you have to type one command called Mongo shell. You have to type the command called Mongo shell and press on enter button. The moment you press on enter button, internally your MongoDB shell will connect with your MongoDB server. It will connect, your MongoDB shell will connect with MongoDB server. And here you will get something called test. Here if you get this option called test, it means successfully you have connected your Mongo shell with Mongo server. Now you can clear this content. So just type CLS, press on enter button. That content will be cleared. Now here we can write our commands. We can add our commands. So to add our commands, let's understand MongoDB database structure. Let's understand MongoDB database structure, nothing but architecture. Exactly how this MongoDB database looks like. So if you take any MongoDB database, this MongoDB database contains multiple collections. It contains something called collections. Collections are nothing but they are like some containers inside our database. So if you create MongoDB database, inside that database, you have to create something called collections. You have to create something called collections. How many collections we can create? Any number of collections you can create. Collection 1, collection 2, collection 3. Like this, you can create any number of collections. Collections are nothing but they are like containers inside our database. Containers inside the database. Inside this collection, we can store any number of documents. Inside this collection, we can store any number of documents like this. We can store any number of documents. Like this, I can store any number of documents. And inside this document, we will store the data in a key value pair. Suppose if I want to store my name, so I will store name : Sagar. Like this, I am going to store multiple data in my database. So these are called documents. We call it as a documents. Documents are nothing but your objects. So these are like your collections. All these are collections. And inside the collection, we are going to store documents. Guys, just give me 1 minute. I will be back. Just give me a minute.
Guys, if you guys have any question, please write it down in a Q&A tab.
Yeah, guys, I hope my voice is audible now.
Yes, it's audible.
Okay. Okay. So if you take any MongoDB database, your MongoDB database contains multiple collections. We can create any number of collections. Collections are nothing but like containers. Inside that collections, we can store something called documents. Documents are nothing but technically those are objects. Technically, those are objects. Okay. Inside these objects, we can store the data in key value format. We can store the data in the key value format. And that key value format we call as a field. We call as a field. So the structure will be like this, guys. So we will have first MongoDB server. Let's assume that this is our MongoDB server. With the help of this MongoDB server, we can create any number of MongoDB databases. Like this, I can create database 1, database 2, database 3, database 4. I can create any number of databases in my memory. Inside each database, you can create any number of collections. Here I can create collection 1. Here I might create collection 2. Here I might create only one collection. Here I might create collection 4, collection 1, collection 2, like this 3 and 4. Now inside each collection, we are going to add documents. Okay, let's assume that this stars are documents. Like this, I can add document 1, I can add document 2. So now we need to learn how to create database first. Not single, how to create multiple databases first we have to understand. Then we need to understand how to create collections. And then how to store documents in the collections. Nothing but how to insert documents inside the collections. Once we are able to do up to here, then we can go for our CRUD operations. Then we will see how to access our documents which we have inserted, how to update our document, how to delete our document. These are the things we are going to see. Now to do all these operations, you have to connect your MongoDB shell with MongoDB server, which already we have done. So if I go back here, yeah. So if you want to learn MongoDB or if you want to work on MongoDB, you should know at least basics of JavaScript. You should know basics of JavaScript, not Java language, guys. You should know basics of JavaScript. How much RAM, how much memory, even if you have 100 GB of memory, that is also enough. Even if you have 1 GB of memory, that is also enough. Now it depends upon how much data you want to store in your database, that much memory you require. But let's assume that I'm just beginning, right? So even if I have 1 GB data, or if I have 1 GB space, in that also I can create database. But I can store maximum 1 GB data in that database, like that. So what else questions I'm getting here? Okay. Yeah. So till now what we have learned, guys, let's try to recap. I think some people joined late. Let me try to explain. So we have started our discussion with what is database. Then we have understood types of database. In that process, you came to know that there is a structured database, there is a non-structured database. Now we are not discussing in very theoretical part what is structured, what are the advantage, what are the disadvantage, then what are the advantage of non-structured database, what are the disadvantage of non-structured database. So all those if I discuss, then our workshop will go for discussing those points only. Okay, so here we are not going to we are not going to spend our more time on the theoretical part. So on very high level, I told that there are two types of databases, structured database, non-structured database. Then I explained you the examples. For structured databases, examples are Oracle, MySQL, and you have SQL Server. And for non-structured database or NoSQL database, the examples are your MongoDB, you have Cassandra, you have Redis, you have CouchDB, you have PouchDB. Now, we are not going to learn all these databases. We are going to focus only on one database, that is MongoDB in this workshop. So we are trying to understand what is MongoDB database. MongoDB is a NoSQL database. NoSQL database means to work with this MongoDB, no need of having SQL knowledge. Here we are not going to use SQL language. And it is a document-oriented database. It means whatever data you will store in the MongoDB database, that will be in the document format. So here, document is nothing but document refers to your JavaScript object. So in JavaScript, we call it as an object, but in MongoDB, we call it as a document. Document is nothing but object only. It's a simple JavaScript object. And inside object, how we store the data? In the key value pair, we store the data. Now to work with this MongoDB database, we need to install MongoDB server. So we have seen the installation of MongoDB server. And to perform the operations on our MongoDB server, like creating databases, storing the data, updating the data, deleting the data, or any other operations, we required one client. We required one Mongo client. And here we are using MongoDB shell as a Mongo client. So we have seen how to install this. Then we have seen how to connect our MongoDB shell with server. This is what I have explained till now. After seeing how to connect our shell with server, I have explained you the architecture of a MongoDB database. So if you take your MongoDB database contains something called collection. Collection contains documents. Inside that documents, whatever data you store, those data are called fields. So here you have to remember these terms: database, collection, document. You have to understand the term field. Documents are nothing but objects.
Sagar, sorry to interrupt in between. Actually, Deepak is asking, will we able to follow this session without prior knowledge of JScript?
No, without knowledge of JavaScript, we cannot follow. So the minimum knowledge of JavaScript we require. So the basics of JavaScript we should know. At least if you know what is variable, what is object, what is function, that's more than enough. The
Okay.
basics of JavaScript required.
Okay, okay. And I need just 1 minute. Actually, we have one session feedback form, which I'm launching from my end, and I would like to request everyone, guys, please do fill it out. It will not take more than 10 or 20 seconds. With this, we can continue.
Okay. Okay, guys. Yeah. So this is what we have covered till now. Now let's understand how to create the database now. How to create MongoDB database. So remember, guys, right now what we have done, we have connected our shell with the MongoDB server. So here I have connected my MongoDB shell with the server. Now I want to create database. So to create database, MongoDB is providing us one command, and that command is you have to write use and your database name. With whatever name you want to create database, that
Sorry, Sagar, I think there is some issue with your mic.
with my mic.
Yeah, because voice is not clear.
Guys, is my voice audible properly, or everyone facing issues?
Okay, people are saying it's clear, so maybe it's from my end.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So how to create database, guys? To create this database, now what we are going to do, we will open our Mongo shell. We will open our Mongo shell. And in this Mongo shell, we are going to add this command. This command we will add. And our Mongo shell is already connected with our MongoDB server. So now MongoDB server will take this command. Nothing but when you add this command, this Mongo shell will give this command to MongoDB server. And based on your command, MongoDB server will create one database. It will create one database. With whatever name you have given, with that name, database will be created. Let's see this practically now. Go to your Mongo shell. Now this is our Mongo shell. Now here you have to just use the command use space your database name. I am adding here something called Shine.db. Press on enter. The moment you press on enter, you will get one message here, switched to database Shine.db. It means internally Shine.db database is created. Now inside this database, I want to create one collection. Inside this database, I want to create one collection. Now how to create collection inside this database? For that, we have to use one more command. And that command is db.create collection. Nothing but we have to use db object. Using this object, we have to call one predefined function called create collection. And to this create collection function, we have to pass our collection name as an argument in a string format. I am saying here products. Collection name as a products, or maybe I will pass here users. Let's go with users. So here this collection name will be users. So how to create? Go back to our MongoDB shell again. Again here you have to use the command db.create collection. Open parenthesis, close parenthesis, and in string format you have to pass users and press on enter. So if you get like this message OK1, it means successfully you have created collection. If I want to create one more collection, I will say products. If I want one more collection, I will say here something called payments. Like this. So 3 collections are created. So here we have created like this 3 collections now. Collection 2 and collection 3. Now inside this collection, we have to store the data. Let's assume that we have created here like this collection. Inside this collection, I want to store the data. How to store the data? In the document format. Like this, one object we have to add. And in that object, we have to store the data in the key value pair. Like I want to store user name, maybe user gender, and user ID I want to store. Yeah, here collection is referred to your table. So don't compare your collection with table, guys. Unnecessarily you will get confused. Just keep your SQL database knowledge aside and try to learn this database freshly. Don't try to compare. If you compare unnecessarily, you will get confused. Okay. So here collection is nothing but it's like a table in your SQL databases. So now here we have to insert our data. How to insert our data? For that, we have to say db dot our collection name. In which collection you want to add that collection name dot, you have to use one function called insert1. You have to call one function called insert1. And to this insert1 function, you have to pass one object as an argument. And inside that object, you have to pass your data in a key value format. This is how we have to use. See here. If I go back, here we have to say db dot users dot insert1. And you can pass here one object. And in that object, you can store your data. I am storing here data like Sagar, and I am storing city like Pune. Right now, only 2 fields I am adding. So this is called field 1. This is called field 2. And this entire object is called document. This entire object is called document. So this document we are adding inside this collection. Enter. So here you got acknowledged true. And internally MongoDB will create one ID, and to that ID this value will be assigned. Like this, I can store one more data. I can say here city as a Mumbai, and I can change name to maybe something like Rohan. Enter. I can store one more. Here I can give city something like Delhi. And here name I will add something like Priya. Enter. So now how many documents we are storing in our database? That nothing but collection, 3 documents. Now I want to access all those documents. How to access? If you want to access all the documents, for that you have a command, that is db dot, from which collection you want to access, that collection name, dot, you have to say find. You have to call a function called find. That's it. See here, if I say db dot users dot find, and if I press on enter, you will see all the data got accessed. So here all the databases got accessed here. If I want to check how many data I have added here, suppose if I am saying here show collection. Now see here I have 3 databases: payments, products, users. I want to add more data in my products. What we have to do? Same thing again. db dot insert one. But before that, we have to use our collection name. Maybe I'm using here products. So db dot products dot insert one, and here we can add some product name like model. I will say here iPhone 16 Pro Max. And here price, I will add something called price. Some price I will add here. So let's add here some price, something like 89,000. Like this, I can add one more. Samsung Galaxy. And here I will add 90,000. Now let's try to access the data from this products collection. db dot products dot find. Now see, here 2 products are printed. Like this, we can add any number of documents. Now these are called documents. This is called document 1. This is called document 2. We are adding 2 properties, nothing but 2 fields, model and price. But internally MongoDB is adding this extra property called underscore ID. So this underscore ID acts like a unique field inside your every document. So by default, your MongoDB will add this underscore ID field. If you don't want this underscore ID field added by MongoDB, then explicitly you can add. Suppose here I can add like this, one field called underscore ID, and I can assign some value to it. Now here I will add something else, like I will say Vivo. Now if I run here, now here see underscore ID value is 101. So if you add underscore ID field, then your value will be taken. If you don't add that field, then internally MongoDB creates that field. And in your documents, this is document 1, this is document 2, this is document 3. In every document, at least one field should be unique. And by default, underscore ID value will be unique. That is the reason when you don't add underscore ID, your MongoDB is going to add that field. So it acts like a primary key. So in your SQL, you have a primary key concept. It acts like a primary key. Without creating collection, can we create document? No, guys. Without creating collection, we cannot create document. We have to follow this sequence. In your MongoDB server, you can create any number of databases. You can create any number of database. I can create 5 database, 10 database, 100 database, depends upon my memory. How much memory I have in my system. In every database, you can create any number of collection. in each database, we can create any number of collections. In each collection, we can add any number of fields. This is the sequence we have to follow. In each collection, we can add any number of documents, not fields. It is a documents. And document contains fields. But here, the size of document is fixed in your MongoDB database. So document can have maximum 16 MB data. So maximum you can store 16 MB data in your document. That is the size of one document. If you are done with 16 MB data, then you have to store next set of data in the new document. So that is the reason we have a concept in MongoDB databases called relation. So what we are going to do, we will divide our data into multiple collections. Suppose if I have a user and I want to store user name, I want to store user email, I want to store user city, phone number, or maybe like state information, his address information, his home address information. Now in this case, what I can do, instead of storing all this data in one document, I can create two documents. In one document, I can store name, email, and something like gender information. In another document, I can store state, city, home address information. This document I can store in collection 1, and this document I can store in collection 2. And I can create relation between these two documents. Nothing but I can connect these two collections. Nothing but we are connecting these two documents now. So that are like your advanced concepts. Now I don't focus on that part. We are just focusing on the CRUD operation. Basically, we are learning first how to create database, how to create collection, how to insert the data, how to access the data. This is what we have seen till now. So let's try again everything from the scratch. So let me go back here. Let me clear this. Now let's assume that I want to create new database. I want to create here new database. And that database name, I want to give here like Shine Sagar DB. I want to give database name as a Shine Sagar DB. How to create? We have to use, then your database name, Shine Sagar DB. Press on enter. If you get here this message, Shine Sagar DB, switch it to DB Shine Sagar DB, it means successfully we created database. Now inside this database, we can create collections. Here we can create now collection 1, collection 2. I want to create two collections, carts, orders. So here I am creating db dot create collection. What is the collection name? Orders. I want to give orders. Next, I want to add here something like products. So we have created two collections now. Now, if you want to see the list of your collection in your database, how many collections you have, then you have to use show DBs. Show collection. You have to say show collections. Now it will show that in this database, how many collections are created. If I create one more collection here called something like carts, and again, if I say show collection, now it will show us the 3 collections. Okay. Now try to focus on what I am trying to teach, guys. I'm teaching you about A and you are asking me doubt about Z. That doesn't make any sense. So right now, whatever I am trying to teach, if you have any doubts in that context, you try to ask. Now I am teaching you how to create collection, how to create database. Now you guys are asking me the doubts, how to exit from the database. So that doesn't make sense. Right now, what I am teaching, try to ask the doubts in that context. Now here, if you see, collections are created. Now I want to insert the data. So db dot products dot insert one function we have to use. And in this, we have to pass our document. Maybe I will pass here underscore ID as 1 and product name. I will pass here something like trimmer, and here price. I am passing here something like 5,000, and rating I will give like 4.7. Enter. Like this, I can add one more. I will add here something called mobile. Price 55,000. Rating 4.2. So here see, here underscore ID was same. Here also I have added same ID. So it is not allowing me to add this document. So what I have to do? Now I have to change this ID value. I have to make it 2. Enter. Like this, we can add one more. I will make it 3. I will add here something called laptop. And here, let me make it 5. Now, if I go back here and if I try to run this, now here we have to say db dot products dot find. Now it will print all our documents. It will print all our documents. Okay. So this is how we are going to add our data inside this particular database. Now, if I want to update any value, let's assume that I want to update this price. Right now, the price is 5,000. I want to update it to 7,000. What we have to do for that? We have to say db dot our collection name, that is products dot update one. We have to use a function called update one. This update function will take 2 arguments. Argument 1 is object 1. Argument 2 is object 2. And here we are going to pass the ID of the product which you want to update in the object 1. So I want to update this first product price. So that unique field name we will pass underscore ID. So we are saying that update the product whose ID is 1. And inside this, we have to use one operator called $set, whose value should be one more object. And which field you want to update? I want to update price. With what value? 7,000. So basically, we are saying that in this collection, if there is any document with the ID underscore 1, then that document price property you have to update to the 7,000. So right now the price is 5,000, update it to 7,000. So if I press on this, I got here matched count 1 and modified count 1. Now if I try to access my data, here I will get price as a 7,000. Here I had 5,000. Here I have now 7,000. So which function we are going to use if you want to update your particular property? For that, we are going to use update one. So db dot your collection name dot, here you have to call update one. Okay. So right now, guys, I am working with one of the batch. In that batch, we are developing one application. And in that application, we are using MongoDB as a database. So basically, we are trying to develop our chat application. So let me show you that output. So this is the chat application initial page. So whenever user will enter the URL, he will land on the login page. Very similar to your Facebook. If I add here facebook.com, I will get the login page first. Here also, we will get the login page. Now here I can log in it with some credential and click on login button. If I click on login button, now see here we are getting our home page where we can see the list of the charts. And here right now we are not showing any chat, but if I click on any user, for example, if I'm clicking on Isha, now Isha image will come here, Isha name will come here, whatever messages I have done to Isha, that messages will come here. If Isha done any message to me, that message will appear here. If I click on Vihan, now Vihan data will come. If I click on Ananya, Ananya will come. So right now, still we are working on this. Like we have done 70% of this application. Till 30% of application we have to develop. Now for this application, we are using database as a MongoDB. So all this users information, all these messages, all this chart information. For example, Sagar is the logged in user. So this user chatted with how many users, that information we are storing in the MongoDB database. So to store these messages, we have one collection. To store these chats, we have one collection. Like this, we are creating multiple collection. Now here you are finding start button. Start button means with this user, Sagar did not chat. If I click on start, before clicking on the start, I am clicking on this user. See, this data is not coming here. I'm clicking here, this data is not coming here. But if I click on start, I got that data. Now here I can message. If I say hi, and if I send, that hi will go. And if you see, that user came on the top now. In the same way, here Krishna is a user. Now Krishna name is here. If I click on Krishna, nothing is coming here. But if I click on start, now Krishna came here. But still, if you see, Krishna chat is here only. On the top, we have Sanvi chat. But here, if I say hi, now that Krishna chat will come on the top. So like this, if you develop any application, you need to store all this information. For that, we require one database. So for this application, we are using MongoDB as a database. So like this, you need to create a lot of applications. So basically in my project batch, I create applications like job portal. I create applications like hotel management. And for this batch, I am creating the application like chat. You need to know how to log in. If I click on log out, I will be back to login. If I click on sign up, I will be back to sign up. So you can register user here. And with that user, you can log in. Suppose here I am registering one user. I will say Shine. I will say here DB, mail. I will add email ID as shine@gmail.com. I'm adding one password. I'm adding some number. Click on sign up. When I click on sign up, here I got one notification and I have navigated to the login file. Now here I can add that. I can say shine@gmail.com. And here if I add wrong password and if I try to log in, it will say me user doesn't exist. But if I add proper password, I will be logged in. Now Shine is a new user. He did not start any chat with any application. So everywhere we have start. Now if I click on this start, I will get this data here. If I click on, I can message him. Like this, we have somewhere Sagar. You might find Sagar also. Like if I click on this, I got Sagar. If I say hi, I will get that message here. Still, we are working on this. Completely, we haven't created yet. 70% of this application is done. In the same way, I can open new instance of same application. And here I can log in with Sagar credentials. Now, let's check whether Shine user chat will display on the Sagar dashboard or not. So here I'm adding something like, now if I go back here at the bottom, I should find something like Shine. So here we have Shine. If I click on this, I got Shine message hi. Here I can say hello. Now that hello will go here. Now if you go back here, see here, still we are working on this. I think this is Shine. See, I got some other messages now. So now we have to solve this. So basically we are doing something like this. So from here, if you message, that data should come here. So here if I say hi, then that data should come here. But that should come in the real time. So that part we are working on this. So like this, you can develop so many applications. And for that, you can use your database as a MongoDB. And the first part, the basic part, you should learn how to create database, how to store the data, how to access the data. This is what first stage we should know. After that, remaining things you can learn. Understood, guys, up to here? How to create database, how to store the data, how to access the data, how to update the data. So here, see, I'm able to update my user data. Suppose if I want to update some other user, like I want to update ID3. For ID3, I want to update the price to something like 1000. If I say enter, here we got matched count 1, modified count 1. If I try to print that data, you will see that price is 1000. If I want, I can remove any specific data from here. I can remove any specific data from here. How to remove any specific data from here? Or how to remove a specific document from your collection? For that, we are going to use db dot our collection name dot delete one function. Now, which document you want to remove, that document ID you have to pass. Here I am saying that in this collection, if there is any document with the ID underscore 2, then remove it. Delete one means remove it. Now, if I say here, it will be removed. Now, if I try to access, I have only 2 documents. Like this, we can do so many things. Right now, I am showing you how to insert single document. We can add multiple documents also. We can update multiple documents also. We can access single document also. If I want to access only single document, then which document you want to access, that document ID you have to pass. So to this find function, you have to pass one document, and in that you have to pass the ID field. Now if you say enter, it will only give you one document. So you can access multiple documents, you can access single documents, you can insert single document, you can add multiple documents, you can update single document, you can update multiple documents also. Like this, we can perform so many operations. So how to delete? For that, we are going to use db dot collection name dot delete one. And here we have to pass our document, and we have to pass the unique field. Now this paint file is like our rough notes, guys. I have added proper PDF for this. If I show you this PDF, here everything I have added. So if you see here, I have added all the steps of installation also. So installation of MongoDB server, step by step how to install. All the steps I have added here. Then how to install Mongo client, I have added here. Then how to create or switch database. What is the command we have to use? How to show all the databases. Suppose you are creating multiple databases. You want to see the list of all the databases. What do you have to do? How to delete the database. If you want to remove the database from your server, how to remove the database. So these commands I did not show, but I want you guys to try. Then how to create collection, how to show collections, how to delete collection. Then CRUD operation. How to insert, nothing but create. How to read, nothing but access. How to update. how to delete. Then I have taken two real world examples using MongoDB CRUD operation for practical cases. Suppose if I want to manage students' information, what we need to do. So step by step, I have added here all these steps. And one more example for e-commerce order system. Like this, you guys can practice. Now, from where you can access this particular document means this document I have added in my GitHub repo. From that, you can download it. Let me just show you that GitHub repo. So here I have this GitHub repo link, guys. If I paste this in my browser, I will provide you this link. What you guys have to do, just this link, you have to paste in the browser. Now you will land on this page. And here you will find this PDF. If you just double click on that, that PDF will open here. Sometimes this PDF will not open. If this PDF doesn't open, click on download button. Here you have download button. Click on this download button. This PDF will be downloaded. So here this entire PDF will be downloaded. So for your understanding sake, knowledge sake, I have added advantages of MongoDB and disadvantages of MongoDB. So all these are theoretical part. You guys can learn this part. Then installation, all those. Just click on this, it will be downloaded. So here on the chat, I think I can provide. So you can save that link and from there you can download it. This paint file also I will update. In the same GitHub repository, I will update that paint file also. And one more thing I want you guys to fill this form. Okay, try to fill this form, guys. In this form, just we have only basic details. You can fill that basic details. And you can just add your feedback in any comments section. There is one field called any comments. Just add your feedback. Like what you felt from this session. Have you learned anything or it went waste of your time? Whatever feedback you have, try to add that feedback. Okay, now this is our terminal. From here, if I want to exit, what I need to do? Just you have to press Ctrl+C. If you press Ctrl+C, you will land on the same thing. If you are in the Mac terminal, Ctrl+C will work, or else here you have to type exit, press on enter. You will come back of that MongoDB shell terminal. You can press Ctrl+C or you can add exit. You can just type exit command. If I want to go back to that terminal, just you have to say Mongo shell. If you say Mongo SH, you will be connected with your server. And once you get here test, then only you can use all your MongoDB commands. If you want to come out from here, you can say Ctrl+C, Ctrl+C. You will come out. Or else you can just use here exit command. If you type exit and click on enter, you will come out of your Mongo shell. Yeah, I will be sharing paint file also, guys. On the same GitHub repository, I will update after the class. Already I have shown you, right, how to store the data in the database. That is the first thing we have done. So if you want to store the data in the database, which command we have to use? This insert one. Okay, so here this insert one we have to use to store the data in our database. Yeah.
Saga, Mr. Deepak is asking, like, do you have any YouTube channel to follow?
Yes, guys, I have one YouTube channel here. So the YouTube channel name is Towards Tech. Towards Tech.
Can you please share the link with the audience?
Sure, sure. So let me just share the link here. So guys, on my YouTube, basically I'm teaching React on free. Like in case if you want to learn that React, you can just go through that videos. So here you will find something called under playlist. You will find here something called React.js live session series. And we have one more playlist called React.js series. So here I have added almost, we have to use something like 9-10 videos. You can just go through this. So I will be updating all the videos here. So if you want this link, I can share here. Yeah. So anyone else, guys, any other queries you have?
Yeah, last question. We have one question that how to auto increment ID or row number column.
So basically that will be taken care by your MongoDB, guys. So here we don't have any access to increment our ID. So generally when we are inserting the document, we don't add manually like this ID. So if you see here for one of the collection, I have added manually one ID. So generally we don't do that. MongoDB internally, it will take care of adding the auto increment for your IDs. Yeah. Anyone else, guys? Any other doubt you have?
Right now, only this much question. Okay, so Rajit is asking, do you have a training on JavaScript?
Yeah, basically I just train on YouTube, guys. Like I will be keep updating the videos. So if you just follow that, you will be getting the updates on JavaScript as well.
Yes, or you can follow him on LinkedIn also for all the updates.
Yeah, guys, you can follow on LinkedIn. Yeah, from here you can take Preeti.
Yes. Okay, so before ending this session, any piece of advice, Sagar, you want to give?
Yeah, guys. So I will give you one advice. In case if you want to enter into the MERN stack development, then this is the right time for you guys to enter it. And when you are preparing for MERN stack, make sure you are developing the projects. You are not just learning the concept, not just learning a simple examples. When you learn certain concept, you try to develop use case on that, or you try to create multiple projects so that you guys will understand how a concept is used in real time to solve the problem. That is the first thing. And second thing, when you are learning lot of technologies, try to keep revising your concept. Keep revising your concept. Generally, we have one complaint from students that, sir, we are understanding everything, but we can't remember. The reason is you don't revise it. So if you don't revise, it's natural that we will forget. So you have to keep revising your concepts. So practice, revise, practice, revise. That's the best way to learn the things.
Great. Thank you so much for delivering this session. We truly appreciate you taking the time to share your knowledge with us, and big thank to like everyone who have joined us today. We hope you found this session useful and informative. And if you'd like to revisit the session, so I have already shared a URL with you. The recordings are available on our LinkedIn page and YouTube channel also, so you can revisit anytime. if you guys have any questions, still have any question, you guys can reach out to us or you can directly reach out to Sagar. Until then, guys, take care and keep learning. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sagar.
Yeah, welcome, Preeti.
Bye bye. Bye bye,
Bye.
everyone. Bye bye, Sagar.